kids at home. Leave your kids at home. Do your 2 step, get your groove on. This is feel good music, you can move on. Relax, stress free, leave your kids at home. Leave your kids at home.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? I do not have my sound machine here tonight, so I can't do sound effects, and looks like I'm halfway in the dark. That is because I am at an undisclosed location, not at home. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it rhymes with Hotlanta. So, hey, listen, my subscribers aren't smart enough to figure that out. So, you know,
hey, you know,
but I'm here with my. Go ahead, Rick.
I'm always at the same location, so you don't have to guess.
That's right. It's called heaven. Listen, I'm here with my friend, my brother, Mr. Rick Charger Mopar, and if I could give him some applause, I would, but my sound effects machine is at home. So I'll give you, we'll do it old school. Hey, listen, and rocking with you, we do a lot of things old school. So
need a phone call?
Oh, but I'm glad to be with you. And
same here.
It is Tuesday night. Man, have I had a day. Utterly and completely ridiculous. Would you like to hear about it?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, you know, I got a little growth there. I got about a week's worth of growth here. I left home from Jacksonville, Florida, to get to Atlanta, which is about 350 miles. I left at 9 o'clock, and I got to my hotel at 7:30. Now, you don't have to do the math to figure that out. So, yeah. It's a long day, and I only stopped twice for like 2 minutes. I mean, I didn't even get gas. I didn't even need gas. But the freeway was jam-packed with people. I guess they were hurricane people.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you encounter the people leaving
it was
Florida?
terrible. Yeah, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the storm is not until tomorrow night,
Thursday.
right?
Yeah, right.
You know, so I don't know. But I figured, you know, if it's tomorrow night, maybe people will be leaving tomorrow. But man, I tell you what, it was a mess. And but I made it. And then I get to my hotel, and they don't have the room I reserved. So they give me another room, and it hadn't been cleaned. It looked like somebody just got out of the bed. The room was a mess. So, yeah.
Sounds
so
like
that's what I was doing today. And
was it the Bates Motel?
Yeah, it was quite the day today. No, this is an Embassy Suites, if you can believe that. And the internet is not that great. It's kind of herky jerky from where I'm sitting here. I hope you guys can hear me okay. But you know, hey, listen. All things considered, you got to count your blessings, man.
Mm-hmm.
Be thankful and grateful.
That's right.
Could always be worse.
That's right. My roof hasn't collapsed yet.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. We got Apex Odyssey. We got our man Bruce in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you, brother. That guy 6, eat a carb, bro. Been there, done that. Although not recently. Yeah. Somebody says, ducks getting chicken tonight. Well, that's a fun thing. Do ducks eat chicken?
Oh, yes, they do. All you got to do is look at my channel. You'll see me feeding them chicken in my videos. Chicken will eat chicken.
I must have missed that one.
Oh, it's an older one.
Huh.
But you can give
what about
chicken
now,
to
the chicken
and
eat
they'll
duck?
eat
Very interesting. Wouldn't have guessed that. But I learned something new from you every time I come on a stream.
That's why you have me here.
Mhm. That's right. Educational purposes. Yes. That's uh, yeah, but I'm excited, man. Headed to Keto Palooza. I'll be in Nashville tomorrow night. I try to leg it out so that I can get some work done. I'm old, man. When I was a younger man, I used to run all night and drive. Like now, 6 or 7 hours in the car is plenty.
Hmm.
And I can stop and get some work done, check some emails, make some phone calls, do what I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't happen today. So we'll try again tomorrow. It can't be as bad tomorrow. There's no way. From Atlanta to Nashville, I should be all right.
Yeah.
I should be all right. So what's new with you, man? Anything exciting?
Well, other than thinking about storms, I have a couple of friends that may be upstate. We may be doing some hurricane cleanup, so we'll see. That's good because if it happens, it'll be extra money, which is always nice. Although it will involve,
Yeah.
trying to get up there. I guess we'll have to go in his truck because mine ain't running. And I don't think I'm going to take the van with me because I don't want to end up in a van down by the river. I mean, obviously, I'm not a motivational speaker. But on the other hand, if I go there, it'll be for a few days and I'll come back here. But as a carnivore, this is actually pretty easy because as long as we got a place to stay at, which is usually one of our friends' houses, when you're out working, you can cook at the same time you're working. You just throw some meat on your truck engine or on the Bobcat engine and get that thing cooking. And, you can practically eat lunch while you're still working. So it works really well. That's one of the benefits of the carnivore lifestyle.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody can. There we have. Look at that. Look, everybody. It's Bruce. I don't
Hey
have any
guys, how
applause for
y'all?
you tonight, Bruce. I'm technologically challenged tonight. I'm not at the home. I'm not at the compound. I'm not at the what they call it, command central.
Yeah. A lot
Can
of
you hear
latency. That was Wi-Fi.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit. My internet is kind of weird here where I'm at. Can you hear Rick all right?
I can hear both of you guys fine. Just all of a sudden, just I guess when I came on, you guys lost me.
No, it's a delay. There's
Nope, we hear
latency.
you. We hear you now loud and clear there, Bruce.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
so so,
Well,
uh,
how
so
about
you got out of Dodge, huh?
Oh,
yeah,
me, I
we're
got
getting our turn here. You had your turn a few weeks ago.
Yep, we sure did. Sure did. Yeah, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. Ours was just a category one. Yours is a monster there. So,
Yeah, but
Rick,
relative, see, but it's
you're down in the Miami area, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I don't think we're going to
Okay,
get
so
much
you're
of it.
a little bit to the south of it. Are y'all
Yeah.
expecting much?
I don't think we're going to get that much. We'll probably get the same thing as we got from the last one. Some wind, had a banana plant fall over, a few branches broke off, and a lot of rain. That's about it.
Oh no, not the banana plant. What are the ducks gonna eat?
Oh, well, the good thing is that it brought down. I had a bunch of bananas that was starting to ripen, and my ladder broke. I thought, man, how am I going to get this thing down? Do I have to go and get the bobcat over there, stand on the bucket, cut the bananas off? And all of a sudden, I heard a cracking sound. The whole thing just went and fell down. So I was able to get the bananas real easy. And I gave some to my friends, my vegan friends. Every time I say there's bananas here, they are over in 20 minutes, fresh organic bananas. You can't beat them. And the ducks, well, they get the stuff that ripened too fast, you know. Although my ducks have deserted me, the raccoons chased them off. So we'll see. I mean, I see ducklings around the neighborhood. It's only a matter of time before they come back and go up to their usual, quack antics.
So then the question is, how does raccoon taste?
Well, that's the other thing. I've never eaten raccoon, but a friend of mine said I should kill one of them and make a cap out of it. You can be like
There
Davy
you go.
Crockett or something like that. Have that tail hanging down That ought to be funny.
Come on here in Texas. We hang we deal with that. Yeah.
I got a possum problem too, but I'm definitely thinking about possum stew. I knew a lot of people when I was younger, used to eat possum stew, and I got 2 or 3 of them hanging around out there. I took 2 of them out of here. When my van sat for 11 years, there was a possum living in there, and he was not happy. He was showing me his teeth and all that, so I grabbed him by the tail. I dropped him in a burlap bag. I took him a few miles from here and let him go. But the next one I see, I think I'm going to go and get the crossbow. I'm going to take him out, and I'm going to try my first crack at possum stew.
You ever have a squirrel?
No, but I know somebody that has.
Yeah, same here. Just about everybody in my wife's family said that they grew up in a poor East Texas town, and squirrel was definitely on the menu whenever my wife's uncle bagged one.
Oh, see, I'm poor here, but my go-to food is iguana because there's a lot of iguanas over there by the canal. The problem
Right.
is my homemade crossbow broke about a month ago, so I haven't had any delicious iguanas. I started to sit down and I made it out of a truck spring. I got a couple of, actually it was a trailer spring. I made the crossbow out of that, and it's metal, and it just snapped. So I was trying to get some scrap together. I was going to weld it back together and then try it out. Once I get it working again, I'll head over to the canal and I'll shoot some iguanas and, fresh meat for the freezer or the refrigerator. Can't go wrong with a tasty iguana.
Yeah. I
Well, I like
got
to work
when
on-
I watched your video with cooking that iguana. That iguana leg sticking out just kind of bothered me a little bit. I don't know, it's just something about it.
Well, you see, like my refrigerator, I just pull the iguana out of the refrigerator and show it to everybody. I've had iguanas on my sink. My house is falling apart. Everything I have is old. That's probably why my YouTube channel is not that popular. People take a look at it and they're horrified. They say, man, I'm not watching this guy's videos anymore. What's he going to do next? Go and cook up somebody's pet. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
and I've done rattlesnake. I haven't done python yet, but I've done rattlesnake and I've done, various critters. But yes, I think, like you said, people don't like looking at something. I mean, they don't have any problem looking at shrimp. They don't have any problem looking at fish. But when it comes to land animals, it seems like they don't like to see that. They don't want to see the lizards sitting on the kitchen counter or, possum sitting in a pot or something like that. So that might be that might be a bad thing.
You never know.
Well, we'd like to welcome everybody to this edition of Yep, We'll Eat It on the Keto Tuesday night, the Keto Cookout. And we got another one.
Hey,
we
guys.
got another
How
one
you
that'll
doing?
eat anything. He's down
Hey.
under. It's our man Dave.
Good to
Got
see
no
you guys.
buzz. I'm out
Yes.
at the compound. And as you can see, I can only afford one light. I'm here in the dark in Atlanta, hanging out with my folks on my way to Keto Palooza. So Dave is here as always. He's a good friend of the show, and I'm sure this edition of Yep, We'll Eat It will be expanded by something from down under.
Yeah.
So
I want to hear what we get when we get down under. Yeah.
Yeah, we got big possums down here. We got wallabies, kangaroos. It is big possums. We got kangaroos down here. We call them two-legged deer.
Listen, Rick. You have to find a raccoon and eat it. You have to do that because we have to hear the story. There's only you can tell the story of hunting and trapping a raccoon and eating it. We'll break the internet with that. I mean, it's like, that is, we have to have that, man. So listen, that is your mission. Should you choose to accept it, to go out there, you must listen. As a practical matter, you must, and I mean you must, avenge the death of your beloved Muscovy ducks. These raccoons came into your sacred sanctuary of duck death, and they ravaged the place.
Boy.
Yeah.
They literally took food off of your table. You must get revenge. It is necessary. You must do that. You must hunt them. You must get justice for your ducks.
I gotta get that crossbow fixed or find another one because I've been aching to get those stupid critters, and the place is loaded with critters. I can go out there at night. I got good night vision. I'll get them every time. You'll see. They're not that hard to get. They have no fear of people. Just wait there,
Yeah,
take aim, and
No,
that's
they
it.
don't.
yeah, you're right about that. That's why I'm scared of them because I learned that as a little kid. I lived out in the sticks, and they look at you like, "Yeah, I wish you would come over here with that foolishness. I will tear you to pieces. You better leave me
Yeah,
alone."
they're going.
It's like,
Trash bandits. They just put their rubbish bins out. They won't move. They'll just come straight to you.
That's right. But once they get a bolt through the head, that's it. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find the video and send it to you. But I saw a lady and her brother-in-law kill, trap one. They had a contraption that was made out of coat hangers and 2x4s and something and tied to trees, and they strung that thing up in there and gutted them and skinned them and soaked them in milk and boiled them in a pot. And made like a stew with vegetables and all kind of stuff, which of course I know you're not gonna do. But they put them in a pot like a roast and boiled them with all the vegetables and potatoes and everything. They seasoned them up good. But because I remember telling you about that, soaking them in milk. I guess it takes the toughness or whatever out of the meat. But it was it was one of those things that I did not want to watch, but I couldn't turn away.
Like a train wreck.
It was just like, oh my God, it was the worst 2.5 hours of TV I ever saw. So yeah, but you got to do that for the people, man. The people deserve that, and your ducks deserve it too.
There you go. That's assuming anyone
Josephine,
still watches my channel.
we got some haze there. Josephine is here. BK is here. Says went to 3 weeks to the Philippines, the great carnivores place. Yeah, I think all those Asian nations, they like
meat.
a lot of. Some of the stuff is a little exotic for me. Some of those outdoor markets. Anything that's ever had parents, I think, is in that market. I mean, it's
I thought they only ate rice.
Kingdom. Yeah, someone says possums are vicious. Now, see, I thought possums played dead. I thought like badgers are vicious.
Not always.
No,
but
you should have seen when I tried to get that possum out of my van. He put up a fight. That thing was like, and it was like trying to bite my hand off.
Yeah,
they got some claws and teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Michigan Hayes says we had coonhounds when I was a little kid. Occasionally shot possum. Many to sell them to a particular ethnic group eating pine coon, as I remember when they were not very good. Pine coon. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but D-Baber says no squirrels here in my area. The country boys have wiped them all out. I got a bunch of them, man. I got a big oak tree that sheds acorns, and I got a whole family of squirrels, man. You guys can come on out there and round them up, and you can get the mama, the cousins. You can get them all.
They just don't seem to have. It looks like a rat with a fluffy tail. I mean, how is that even edible?
And they dig up there, and they're digging up everywhere, burying those acorns, and they're just all over the place.
You get hungry enough, Rick, you'll eat anything.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Hey, that's how I started eating iguana. They were destroying my garden. I shot one, and I go, I wonder if this thing's edible. And the funny thing is, the guy that I used to be in business with, his business was raising turtles and iguanas. So I never told him I was eating iguanas. Otherwise, I think there would have been a little bit of a battle going on there. But once I killed that iguana and I looked at it, I go, the meat looks pretty darn good. Somewhere around fish and chicken. And then I cut it up and I boiled it and I took a bite out of it and it was delicious. And that was probably, 20 years ago. So I became the iguana man.
Okay, back up a minute. So you said to yourself, I wonder if this is edible, but you didn't ask anybody. You just boiled it and ate it.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I always thought, as a human being, since I eat a lot of meat. I've eaten some meat out of the dumpster. In fact, I've eaten mystery meat many times. I figured, well, as long as you boil it, that'll kill the parasites, and then you can try to eat it. And besides, if it smells bad, I wouldn't eat it. I'd throw it to the ducks. So I figured once you get the guts out of it, basically the tail's all meat, the legs are all meat. You just snip it across the middle, pull the stuff out of the belly. It has a little bit of meat, not a lot. But, I mean, what's the difference between that and fish and chicken? It's got meat, cook it up and eat it. That's what I say.
Yeah, I guess when you say it like that, you don't have to be that brave. But I can just say, I think I can speak for a significant part of the population when I say, if I wonder if something's edible, I'm not going to eat it first and then find out. I'm going to ask somebody first and then eat it.
Yeah,
Can I
but think
get a
about it.
second on that? Can I get a second on that motion?
If you're
Yeah,
eating,
I think you'd have to be pretty brave though to eat mystery meat though.
well, the thing
Yeah.
is, the way I figure it, mystery meat is safer than eating random plants and fungi,
Oh,
because
that's true.
you eat the wrong fungi and you're done. Imagine some of
True.
those mushrooms. There's no antidote. They destroy your proteins. It kills you.
Yeah.
So that's no good. And then when it comes to eating plants, most of the plants are not edible. And even the ones that are edible, they have to be specially prepared. So if you're going to eat stuff like beans, for example, beans are toxic. You can't eat them raw.
Yeah.
So you have to soak them and cook them and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I figured if you're desperate, you're hungry, you got to eat something. What would you rather do? Play Russian roulette with plants and fungi, or just find something that's alive and kill it and eat it? And as long as you cook it right, you're not going to get any parasites or toxic bacteria. And then hopefully you'll survive. I mean, you got a better chance of surviving eating an animal than you do eating plants. And I'm a gardener.
That
I
is
know what
true.
plants you can eat.
Yeah.
That
that's
that
a
is
good
true.
point, Rick.
I would have to agree with that. If I was going to spin the wheel on eating something with my life on the line, it would be something that had parents. Yeah, I could go for that. I'm
So
with you
Rick,
that.
Have you ever gotten sick from eating anything, eating any of your mystery meats?
I've never had food poisoning in my life. The only time I've ever gotten sick is when I got the flu. And actually, I did get sick about maybe 20 something years ago. I went to, we had a get together, we had a picnic, and they had like chicken and they had fish and they had beef and all that. And about maybe 4 hours after it was over, I had a stomach ache like you wouldn't believe, bunch of gas. I had diarrhea. I was throwing up. It was really bad. But I found out I wasn't the only one that had that problem. So evidently something that they were serving there wasn't safe. But the stuff that I've caught and cooked, I've never been sick in my life. Everyone laughs at me because they see me eating iguanas and, ducks and who knows what else. I've had pigeons. Squab is one of my favorite. And, that's baby pigeon. So you get like, I have an air conditioner. The pigeons always nested on it. It was a constant thing. From the moment that they're in there mating, they're going, "Woo, woo, 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 woo." I mean, it's really annoying. And then, it's like, then you have these birds in there hatching out. I said, you know what? I'm going to take care of this problem. So you wait until the little pigeons get just about ready to start flying. You pluck them out of the nest, and then you can boil them up, strip the feathers, and they make really good meat. And that's what the rich people used to call squab. So I've eaten that. I've eaten all kinds of fish. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the crazy things that I've eaten, but I've never been sick.
Yes,
And I've
yeah,
eaten meat
I
out of
think
the
we
dumpster.
would.
Well,
I think we would believe it, Rick.
I think we would believe it. I can't speak for everyone, but I would believe it. One, because I know you to be a man of upstanding character. You would never lie. So, and not to mention,
one time I had a snapping turtle that I was having a really hard time with. I was cleaning out by the side of a cow. This stupid thing grabbed on my pants, and then it tried to pinch my finger. So I threw it in the truck. And then when I came home, it was still there. I said, what am I going to do with this stupid thing? So I cooked it, and it was actually pretty good. So, I mean, I'm not afraid to eat anything that's animal, because I figured if the thing was alive, there's always a way to cook it. And I've never gotten sick. I've had rattlesnake, and rattlesnake is poisonous. I've eaten rattlesnake meat; is really good. I've eaten frogs. I've even eaten toad legs, and toads are toxic, but the legs are edible. So I don't, I know I can survive on whatever I can find.
hey, listen, if you're ever over at Rick's house and he says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Make sure your life insurance is paid up. I'm just saying.
Right. Make sure you can outrun Rick.
Yeah,
that's pretty hard to do, though.
Oh, I love that, man.
I'm just wondering how many of those squab would it take to make a meal, Rick?
Well, you eat them with other stuff. So a lot of times I'll have it with a nice piece of beef, or like I said, if I hit the dumpster at the
Like a
Winn
side.
Dixie or whatever store, sometimes you can get a lot of meat out of there, and then you'll have some of that. Some of that meat may be a little old, but then you have a couple of squabs to go with it. It elevates your meal. I've
Kind of
had
like a garnish.
pork, huh?
Kind of like a garnish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no. Listen, hey, Rick. Listen, Rick's gonna write a book, and it's gonna be called Squab on the Side.
We live.
And he's gonna have all his heart attack recipes and all that, and it's just all they're gonna have a side of squab with all.
Adventures of a suburban hunter.
That's my vision. I have a vision. Hey, I love it.
I've eaten bugs. I've eaten grubs, Japanese beetles. Those grubs, they cook up like shrimp. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the things. I've eaten snails. You ever had escargot? You get snails in the garden. You get them and you feed them lettuce and you feed them clean stuff for about a week or two, and then you can boil them up. They're delicious. So, like I said, I'm not picky about what I'm eating.
I think
That's
they're
no
going to
thank
be a
you.
TV show one day. Like 2030, there'll be a TV show like Hunger
Oh, yeah.
Games. Like, who can outrun Rick?
Yeah, listen, no, it's going to be called Yep, We'll Eat It.
Let
This
me
week
tell you
on
something.
Yep, We'll Eat It.
I have several friends that are in their 20s, and I'm 56. I can outrun all of them, and I don't get tired. A lot of guys, they run maybe 400 feet, and they're starting to breathe hard. I'm just getting started. I said, look, I chase after iguanas, and they're quick. So you shoot an iguana, and you got to run and get it before it goes in the canal. So it'll spin around a little bit, and you're running as fast as you can. I've had a couple of times where I slipped and ended up in the canal, so that wasn't too much fun. But still, you gotta be quick. And I don't know what's wrong. Everybody I know is slower than me. But then again, I'm 6'6", so I got long legs and I'm
I
skinny.
was going to
So I
say,
can
like,
move
400
fast.
yards is like 3 or 4 strides for you, isn't it?
It's like that tribe in Africa, those tall, skinny guys that eat meat. I forget what they call that, but I've seen them in those National Geographic videos, and they're just running. It's just like me, but I don't know.
So, have you ever seen any gators in those canals?
Oh yeah, I use my gator call sometimes, and they'll come towards you. So yeah, I see them once in a while.
So that's a gator call. Is that well known throughout the gator calling community? Is that your unique gator call?
No, I think that's pretty well known because it was an old timer that taught me how to do it. We had a gator in the Snapper Creek Canal, and then he was saying, "Oh, you can call him. You just got to go like this." Because what that is, that's the sound that little gators make. And then the mama gators, they think there's like a little gator around, so they'll come up to you. So you just go in.
Oh, see, that answered the burning question. I'm trying to think to myself, what in the world would they be running to when they hear that sound? It's like, is that a catfish fart or something? I mean, I don't, I don't know. I have no idea what that is. So, of course, I don't spend a lot of time around baby gators. So, I don't know what sound they make.
Mama gators are very protective of their young. A lot of like iguanas, they don't care about the young. They lay the eggs, they leave, and the iguanas fend for themselves. But mama gators, they build a nest, they make a mound. The mama gator will stay around until they hatch, and when the little gators hatch, they kind of keep an eye on them. Now, if times are lean and there's not much food, the mama will eat the babies. But in normal times, she'll watch them. So if you come near her nest, she'll come after you. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of a gator.
No, I second that motion.
But when I was a kid, they were fairly common, and we had a park not that far away. The gators would sometimes just sit there, and nobody ever told us to watch out for them because they were full. They were sitting in the ground. Like on a cool day back when we used to have seasons, you would go and like December, January, a gator would be sitting there in the park, sitting in the sun. You could run up and grab it by the tail. You could tap on it. It wouldn't do anything. They just sit there motionless. Now in the mating season, which is between May and July, you don't want to go anywhere near them gators because they'll be super aggressive. They'll think you're like competing for their mate, or they'll see you as food. And gators are fast. Don't think that they're slow, because usually you see them walking slowly across the street. When they want to go somewhere, they're like a lizard. They'll take off, and that tail is powerful. There's a lot of muscle in that tail. You do not want to be getting caught up in that tail, because they'll knock you down. They'll bring you in the water, and next thing you know, you'll be gator bait. So, you got to stay away from it. It's common sense.
Yeah, I make it a habit to stay away from alligators. I can definitely say that. We have some suggestions on how to make your possum. There's
There you go.
parboiled and fry in butter. We got
That's a good idea.
rotisserie. We got our friend Jody, welcome, who says remember to skin it first.
Right.
Sandra says we didn't take the wool off lamb's tails when we cooked them on barbecue. All the wool burns off.
Yep, that's right.
Who knew? My Apex Odyssey thinks we're all nuts.
I know we're nuts.
Fruit in season makes more sense, as I'd say. None of our ancestors probably stopped and ate much for leafy greens. There will be an occasional energy balance associated with that. Would put you in the red.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ray over there, he picks nuts and stuff in season, and he eats natural. So I think, and also, he's active. If you see his channel, you see some of his videos where he's, taking care of the cattle or harvesting hay. This guy is really on the move. I think he's about my age or older. So it works.
That. Well, that first word, I'm not sure what that means, but I know what hay is. So Jenny, hey sis, hi Russ and crew. Are you ready for Milton tomorrow? I'm on a response team and ready to come help if needed. You don't need an invite. You can come on down. I need a response team all the time, so you can come on down and respond anytime you like. Come on down to Jacksonville, but I am not in Jacksonville. I'm not even in Florida. I am in Atlanta, Georgia, on my way to Keto Palooza in Kentucky. So I will be nowhere around there when Milton comes rolling through. He won't see me. D. Maver says I'd eat any kind of bird.
Me too.
So you don't wrestle alligators. I'm going.
No, I wouldn't try that. I mean, I'm not. There's no reason to. I don't want to go near them.
Well, they're in the canal and they're edible, so I figured you might have a way to.
The government they protect the stupid things, and you have to get a hunting license and all that. But
Gotcha.
the iguanas, they're invasive, so you're welcome to shoot as many as you want.
But what if they're like in your yard and threatening to eat your dog?
Let me put it to you this way: if a gator comes in my yard, I am not calling the FWC. I'm going to handle the problem myself. And by the time I take care of that gator, there'll be nothing left except the gator skin and a very satisfied Rick.
There you have it. Super Tune says bunkering down. Now, how bad are you supposed to get it down where you're at, Rick? How bad is it supposed to be?
At this point, it'll be no worse than the last one, Helene. A little wind, a little rain.
It's north of you a ways.
Right. I went through Hurricane Andrew. I'm going to be out of here before we get one of those. I want to be moved out of Miami. They get another 1926 or an Andrew. That's their problem. Then I can laugh when all these overpriced condos and all these ugly box homes get wrecked. And then people panic, and all these idiots that came here from New York and from other countries, they just say, hey, no more Florida. And if they leave, then us real Floridians, we like it here. I can live without air conditioning. I can eat iguanas. I can live in a yard with just trees everywhere. My yard looks like something that the Addams family, it's like a tropical Addams family. So that's what I like. I don't like this fake silliness.
Hey, come on up to Jack's, man. Come on up to Jack's. Michigan Hayes says squab used to be a very popular meal in the 1800s. It was so popular they killed passenger pigeons out of existence.
That's right.
Okay, so what's the difference with Cornish game hens? Aren't they pigeons as well?
Pretty much. They're in the same family.
Okay, that's what I thought.
When I was a kid, my mom used to make those.
Mm-hmm.
I see them in the store every once in a while when I'm going through there, but I don't eat too much chicken and stuff anymore. Not really
You know,
fatty enough, but I did eat some recently. They had it on sale. If it's on sale, yeah, it's for me.
all that poultry is nice dark meat, and if you cook it right, especially if you cook it heart attack style, it's irresistible. Beef
Yeah,
tallow makes any poultry delicious.
yeah.
I'm in the process of making some beef tallow. I had uh, the the local HEB actually has packages of 3, 4, 5 pound packages of the fat.
Ah,
And so I had it in my crock pot over the weekend. I was going to video it. I was trying to video it, and I didn't do very well. So I'll have to try it again at some other time.
That never stopped me. Listen, hey, you
Well,
know,
if you do that, not only will you have good tallow, but you have cracklins, which are like pork rinds but made from beef. So if you do it right, you'll get both of them, the little crunchy treats plus all the tallow.
so what do you do? How do you get how do you get that crackling stuff? And that was kind of the when I got it out, it was like the leftover fat was like mush.
Oh yeah, it depends on where you get the cut from. You know, if it's on the outside of the cow, close to the skin, then you'll get the cracklins. If it's internal, like the visceral fat or whatever, it just turns into mush. It's basically duck food. So it really
Yeah,
depends on where you're getting the cuts from.
it was the visceral fat. The what do they call it? The I can't remember.
Yeah,
I can't remember the kind of fat they call it.
right.
I
Yeah, it's an
don't
internal.
okay, don't laugh at me here. This is one of the rare times I would say that. This is one of the very rare times that I'm being serious. Okay, I have tallow, but I get it from like when I fry my ground beef, I
Hmm.
drain it and then I boil off the water, and then I have like it looks like a teapot, like a tea kettle, but it's actually made for bacon grease and all that kind of stuff. And it has a little strainer in the top of it, and I pour it in there. And then when I make my oxtails or things like that, kind of the same kind of thing.
Hmm.
Sometimes what I'll do, especially with oxtails or things that throw off a lot of fat,
Hmm.
I'll just put the pot in the fridge, and that top layer, you know, gets coagulates, and then I'll just scrape that off and melt it down a little bit, maybe burn off a little bit of water, and then store that. Now, that's tallow, right?
Yes, if
Now,
it's from
what
a
is
cow.
Rick trying to do with a crock pot?
Well, the crock pot is just the same thing. Instead of cooking your food like you normally do, you're just taking fat, you're putting it in a crock pot at a low temperature. And what happens is the fat cells, which are actually the fat that you buy, they have lipid droplets. And the lipid droplets is what we call tallow. So saturated fats in animals are different than plant fats. Plant fats are generally liquid at room temperature because plants, they're water based and they store the fats in things like seeds and other structures they don't use. But in animals, we're constantly using the fat. It's like a storage to convert glucose into those fatty acids, and then we remove them to use them as energy. So that fat has to be stable. And the thing is, if it was like a plant fat, which is polyunsaturated, it would just sort of turn rancid inside of us. It'd break down and we'd have to get rid of it. So they have to trap those in those little fat cells. And when you heat them up in the crock pot, all you're doing is you're causing it to expand, and then the fat liquefies and it runs out. That's the same thing with lard. I mean, it's the same idea. You can use, for
Okay.
example, like the inside of the pig, they call that leaf lard, like towards the inside, further down. And then you have like the outside, the skin, and that's like the Spanish, they call it chicharrones, which they use for, like a crunchy kind of a thing. And pigs, they tend to have that same, their skin is like, it's not like a leather like in a cow. It tends to be more of, it's like a different structure. So the fat is throughout their skin. But with cattle, generally, the best fat is going to be inside. So all that beef tallow is going to come out like around the intestines and around like the inner organs. That's where it is. Yeah, it's suet. The suet is around the kidney, as mentioned there.
Yeah,
So that's it.
that's what I was trying to remember with suet.
Right.
So,
And if
so,
you
so
use
well, tell
that,
me what were you trying to do, Bruce? You cooked something and you were trying to save the tallow from it, or you were trying to just make tallow out of something else?
I was making tallow straight out of the suet. out of the fat. And there was a little bitty pieces of meat which I cut off and threw in the air fryer later.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I put in I think it was like about 3 pounds of suet. Then you put a little water in, a little salt. And then after it sits there bubbling for about 24 hours, I threw it in a bowl, threw it in the fridge, and I got a nice brick of a round brick of tallow now. So now I can make my heart attack chicken, Rick. That's the whole point of all this.
You're gonna love it. Once you've had it, you won't want it any other way.
Do you eat bacon, Bruce?
Yes, and I do pour off the bacon grease. I have a can for it.
You can get a lot more bacon grease to make your heart attack chicken than tallow, because I acquired a lot of bacon grease over a little bit of time when I was. It throws off a lot of fat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have a little bit left. I haven't had bacon in quite a little while. Just off of it for a little while. Substitute it with some shrimp and some salmon and some different things. I'll probably go back to it after a little while.
Yeah.
But it's probably been 6 months now, maybe 5 months.
Wow.
And I still haven't gotten through all of the saved up bacon grease. I'm down to my last little bit of it. I started saving my beef tallow and just using up my bacon grease, and I still have a little bit left. But I don't use it too much. I don't deep fry a lot of stuff. I fry stuff in bacon grease, but I don't, submerge it. I just put a little bit in the bottom and like chicken or shrimp or stuff like that. Even steaks, like I'll sometimes fry my steaks in bacon grease, but there's only just a little bit on the bottom of the pan. It's not enough to deep fry anything.
I can go through 50 to 100 pounds of lard in a year and probably 20 or 30 pounds of tallow.
Wow.
But you deep fry everything, though, right?
I deep fry everything.
Yeah.
My food is extremely high fat. I mean, my calories in a day is average somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000. It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm not able to do that yet. As a matter of fact, don't at me, everybody. I get carnivore hate mail or hate messages whenever I talk about this. I made some picanha for the road, and I trimmed about half the fat off of it. Because I know exactly listen, that look of terror that Bruce just gave us there. Because it's just too much. It's too much of a good thing. I can't. And I mean, unless I want to turn myself into a human nuclear reactor, I just
I've done that.
I have to get rid of it. I just can't. But it's crazy because even though I got rid of half of it, it's still a lot. You know what I mean? And it's like, I become a walking nuclear explosion, man.
I think it's because I've eaten this way for so long. I can eat incredible amounts of fat.
Yeah.
And you got to realize that I don't eat carbohydrates hardly at all. And I do a lot of physical labor. I'm constantly working outside, digging holes, moving things around. So I'm using a lot of energy. And
you're in a hot climate too.
I'm in a hot climate.
That also contributes.
Yeah. So and the thing is, I don't drink a lot of water, unlike a lot of people. So with all the fat that I'm eating, I think that's taking care of it. It's just that my diet is the extreme. I don't think there's any other carnivore that eats the way that I do. And I don't use any spices. I hardly use any salt. I like cold water. I don't drink anything hot. I always want my water extremely cold. In fact, I'll chew on ice. It's just something that I've always done. So
I'm a little cold drinker too. I don't like a lot of hot drinks.
Yeah.
I drink coffee and tea, but they're both ice. I drink iced coffee and iced tea. I don't really like it hot.
Right. I think when you live in
a high fat diet also helps you to cope with heat as well.
Okay. My problem is I'm always feeling warm, If I don't have my air conditioning on, I just feel uncomfortable. So I'd have to go around naked, which nobody wants to see. So what I normally do, I just get the AC on when I'm outside. Now I do wear different clothes than everyone. Everybody down here wears those long sleeve shirts to protect themselves from the sun. I absolutely hate those things
Yeah, that's just
because once they
nuts.
get wet,
Yeah.
it's like wearing a trash bag and it gets extremely hot. I hate those things. So I wear like a regular shirt with an undershirt underneath. And then that way, when I'm sweating, it doesn't saturate it because otherwise you wear a regular shirt, it'll saturate and it'll stick right to you. And then everywhere you move, this thing is pulling on you. So I use the undershirt, which is the way that people used to do it in the old days. And I only use cotton underwear. I can't use any of that other stuff. I wear different kinds of clothes, but as long as I have the cotton undershirt, I think that makes a difference. And yeah,
Well,
it's hot.
if you didn't have the deep fryer going 24/7 in your house, it'd probably be it might be a little bit cooler.
I generally deep fry on the stove anyway, and I have an air vent. I do have an extractor, which helps, but my air conditioner, I got two air conditioners. I got a 36,000 BTU in the living room, and then I have a 12,000 in my bedroom. And I like to sleep at like 68 degrees, so I'm kind of the extreme.
Good grief, man. Yeah, I was going to say you could hang meat in there if it's when you're sleeping. Good grief.
Well,
I'm
it's
the
funny
same actually.
because
I love the air conditioning. I like to keep it nice and cool. Problem is my wife doesn't. She really feels the cold.
yeah,
So I can't have the air conditioning going, and she needs to like rug up with a heap of blankets. I'll just sleep without the
Okay,
blankets.
68 is not for human beings. Okay, that is
oh come
not
on,
not fit for human beings. That's polar bear kind of weather. 68 degrees. Give me a
yeah.
break.
I
You're
don't use
part
a
of the 3% of human beings that can be comfortable sleeping at 68 degrees.
I don't use a
It's
blanket
nice
either.
and
I just use a
comfortable.
sheet. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
why he's
All
so
right.
young still. He goes into cryogenics every night.
Yeah, I guess
That's gotta
he
be
doesn't
right.
have to do. He doesn't have to do. One thing he doesn't have to do is a cold plunge. He's like,
It's funny you mentioned that because I was going through my old computer crap and I found my old pictures from like 25 years ago. I posted them on my community page and I was looking at it and I go, man, I don't look that much different now at 56 than I did at 29, 30, and 32. I really don't change that much, which is kind of strange because my vegan friends, they insist that I'm unhealthy looking. Oh, you're too skinny. Oh, you look unhealthy. It's like, oh, how terrible. I said, yeah, but I've always looked this way. And you guys, I look at them when they were 30, it's like a drastic difference between the time they're in their 20s and the time they're in their 50s.
yeah.
It's
And your
like,
health, your health is not in the mirror. Trust me. I help people with their blood work and stuff. And dude, I mean, they're half my size, and their blood work is a mess.
mm-hmm,
So
True.
I mean, it's utterly it makes me laugh out loud. And people look at my blood work and look at theirs, and they look at me and look at they're like, how could this be? I'm like, I'm the world's most healthy 480-pound guy. And what can I
there you
tell
go.
you?
It
I don't know
happens.
what to tell you. But it's nuts to me that just the difference in a diet can make in just your blood work. I mean, it's crazy when you see some of the numbers. I mean, people that are literally 20 years younger than me,
Mm-hmm.
250 pounds lighter than me, that have A1Cs at almost 7, fasting insulins of 30. And I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, they're diabetic, they're on blood pressure medications, they're on all these different things. You see them walking on antidepressants, anxiety, and you see them walking around, and you'd think they were the picture of health. They work out, they do all this stuff. But those are the kind of people you hear about that drop dead while they're working out, and people can't believe it.
So
You
the
know,
seed oils. Actually, I just did a
because
video
And
on that
the blood.
yesterday. The seed
let me,
oils, actually alters the genetics of your brain, and it causes a lot of like obesity and neurodegenerative diseases, including like depression and anxiety and Alzheimer's and all sorts of stuff. It's proven. Like University of California did a paper on this like a couple of years ago. That seed oils do this damage. So
well,
you can be fit and lean and sick as a dog. Like
Yeah.
I was very fit. I was very, very fit, and I was stage 4 follicular lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
Now that could have taken. That would have. I mean, this mitochondrial damage to your health, like that takes decades of the wrong food and the environment and everything like that. I'll be the first to admit that like a lot of the food that I ate was these processed foods full of seed oils that protein powders and stuff like that. I was a gym rat. I was doing all sorts of stuff.
Well, look at all the people that work out. I mean, they work out like crazy, and then they go get a big smoothie with bananas and pineapples and all that stuff in it.
Yeah, full of protein powders and seed oils.
Yeah.
You know, it's a friend of mine, his son, he's like 20, 21 now, and he has unbelievable physique. I mean, 6-pack abs and just looks like a model. I mean, he probably could be a model. But the interesting thing was he always watches me work when I do work at the house, and I'll squat down and I'll sit there for sometimes 30 minutes. He says, I don't know how you can do that. Says, I can't do that. And then I saw on this other channel, it might have been the Mike Mutzel or one of those popular channels where they had the sit and stand test. I actually made a video of me doing it, where you cross your legs and you sit down and then you stand up without holding on to anything. So I did it over there, and I asked him if he could do it. He's like, nope, couldn't do it. Too stiff, too many pains. And this is a guy that's in good shape. I mean, looks fantastic. You know, if I look like that, all the girls would be chasing me. But instead, I look like a skeleton and they all run away. But the thing is, performance-wise, it's just amazing that young people that look so good. Now, I work with 20-somethings. A lot of them are in good shape. They got the nice physique. They got the big arms. They got nice legs. You know, they're pretty to look at. But when it comes to the actual work, you hand them a pick and shovel, and they go for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then it's like tired. And a lot of people, when you work with them, even when they're not working, they breathe hard. It's like their system is working differently than me. You know, I can work and I don't breathe hard when I'm at relaxed, you know, and my blood pressure is lower than theirs. I've shown my blood pressure in my videos. It can be 90/60, no problem. So, you know, looks are not everything, as you said. You know, you could look really good and be unhealthy, or you could look unhealthy like me and be fine. So you never know.
Right.
It's
And we do have a question about grass-fed beef here. They put YouTube user said, "I love the taste compared to grain-fed, and how do you like grass-fed beef?" I can honestly tell you, I've only had grass-fed beef once or twice, and I say it all the time. My palate is ignorant. Okay,
well,
I don't have a refined palate, and I can't tell the difference. Now I can tell the difference between meat that I bought on sale and meat that I paid full price for. Now that I can tell you.
well, let me tell you my experience. The grass-fed beef from the store is not as good as the grass-fed beef we used to get locally, because when we had a cow that was slaughtered freshly, those cows are absolutely delicious. Because here in Florida, they never fed them hay. They just grazed all year round. And they would graze St. Augustine, elephant grass, and we'd throw tropical fruits to the cows whenever, you know, it was, because you had fruit that was rotting. What are you going to do with it? You throw it to the pigs or throw it to the cows? So grass-fed beef from Florida, which doesn't exist anymore because the only cattle we have now have 2 legs and they're stacked and packed in condos. And many of them are just too sick anyway to eat. So you don't want to mess with those. But when we had cattle, we had dairy, the grass-fed was very good. The grain-fed in the store, it's okay. But the grass-fed in the store,
I don't know if I've ever had like grass-fed that was totally grass finished. Are you talking about like grass-fed their whole life?
Probably
These were
grass finished.
They didn't really finish the cattle here. They just let them eat everything that was out there, and then when you slaughter them. These cattle were not being sold to a feedlot. We were buying it ourselves. A lot of times, the people that I knew, like for example, they had a dairy farm. They were selling dairy, and you know, dairy cattle are not exactly bred for meat. But the thing is, when they no longer produce milk, you got to do something with them. So what they would do, they'd turn them out to pasture. They'd go out there and eat elephant grass and St. Augustine and crabgrass and whatever else they had. And then when they'd slaughter the cattle, you know, we'd eat it. It was good meat.
The good thing is, Rick, because they were eating all that tropical fruit too, that would fatten them up as well. And
Right.
certainly it would. I mean, not as much, I would say, but it would certainly be a lot healthier than the seed grain they fatten them up on now.
Yeah,
Right.
and they eat
The
banana
only
leaves.
real big difference though between like all cattle basically, especially in Australia, is all grass raised. But it's only spent like the last 3 to 6 months fattening up on soy pellets and that seed. But you can see the difference in the meat because grass finished is more yellow in the fat because there's more nutrients in it, and so that the whiter the fat, then the more grains it's being fed up on to
Right.
finish. And it's grass finished is lower in deuterium, but I mean health wise, there's really not going to be that much of a difference because as long as it's a ruminant animal like a cow, you don't get a lot of that pass through the fat. It's just a little bit more deficient in the nutrients of the fat. That's about it. So it's just whatever you can afford, and you're still going to be healthier than eating a standard Western diet. That's for sure.
Well, even the poultry, like the chickens, they're more yellow when they eat the natural diet. The stuff you buy in the store is kind of white, but those chickens that eat
don't buy it. Don't buy it. Like chicken and pork, and that includes bacon. Anything that's basically farm raised, like or corporate farm raised, is just fed on soy pellets and especially that oversized chickens and so on. So everything that they eat comes out in the flesh and the meat because they don't have the ruminants to get rid of it all.
Pigs were common here, though. People would use them as garbage disposals. So all the fruit that was old, all the material you want to get rid of, you throw it to the pigs, and they would eat it. But that was some flavorful pork. Let me tell you, some of these hogs would be huge. I mean, they were big. And you slaughter one of them and cut it up. You have a bunch of lard. And the meat was good. I love the pork we used to have here. It makes me mad what they did to Miami. The development is just out of control. I hate what they did to this place.
Yeah,
Idiot.
I think that they would fatten them up a lot better on fruit.
Yeah.
The pigs and the cows, because I mean, it's going to be a lot healthier, but there's so much fructose that they would easily fatten up on fruit. But the soy industry is one of the biggest industries in the corporate farm select monocrops. Like they have so much power, it's unbelievable.
The other
That's why
thing
it's absolutely every food that there is, like every processed food around the planet is soy products are in, because they also government subsidized as well, because like schools, it's in schools foods, it's in hospital foods, and all this other stuff too.
Well, that was one of the things that I did when I started getting more into the heart attack diet. I came up with the triple threat that I try to avoid: corn, wheat, and soybeans. Anything that has corn, wheat, and soybeans in it, I didn't want anything to do with. So that was the thing. But, but I'll tell you, the tropical fruit, even yard trimmings, they used to give yard trimmings to cattle, like cherry bushes and grass clippings and all this stuff. We'd just take it down there to the field and throw it over there, and the cows would eat it. And that farmer, that's fine, throw it all there. Palm leaves, banana leaves, they eat anything. I mean, you'd be amazed what a cow could eat.
Jenny says, I've been with the response team for 2 weeks and really missed my tallow. I've been eating packs of butter and grossing my crew out. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, helping this week. God bless you, Jenny.
There you go.
I have people down there that were hit pretty good. I mean, I think they're okay now. I have folks in the Asheville area, Hendersonville, Fletcher area. I think there's a VA clinic in Asheville that one of my brothers works at as a nurse there. So, yeah, my Pop Redden is in a nursing home down in that area. They were without power for about a week, running off of generators at the nursing home. And they got a lot of devastation through that Western Carolina area. So, God bless you out there, helping folks and doing your thing out there. I would like to make an announcement, since we were talking about steak the other day. This is a couple more. Mama Cracker says, "Hey, good to see you, Mama Cracker. I would like to make an announcement. This is breaking news. It's very important to me, probably not so much to any of you. But picanha has officially replaced New York strip as my second favorite cut of meat. You heard it here, folks, right here on the Keto Cookout Tuesday night exclusive.
We'll have to work on getting it your favorite cut of meat.
I don't see how that could ever. But shout out! Listen, I have to thank my girl Christy for Meeting Wellness. Her new name is now Lady Picanha, and that's what
that works. Definitely,
I'm going to call her Lady Picanha from now on. She is Chris and Lady Picanha. If she's watching, sometimes she pops in the stream late. She has a stream on Tuesday nights too, I think. But she pops in late, and she is now Lady Picanha. I have to thank her for this, and I've told this story before, but for those who haven't heard it, she was on a stream. I think it was with Carnivore Soldier. I think it was Larry. And they were talking about cuts of meat, and she was like, my favorite cut of meat is picanha. And I laughed out loud. Now, I had never had picanha at the time. I knew what it was, because I hadn't been to a Brazilian steakhouse, but I've been invited a million times, had chances to go. It never worked out. It wasn't until I went to Texas for KetoCon that I actually went to a Brazilian steakhouse for the first time and had it. But when I had it, I was like, this is good. I don't see how anybody could prefer anything over the ribeye. I'm sorry. I don't see how anything comes close to the ribeye for the mix of fatty, tender, juicy, flavorful. It's just, to me, it's the best. If you're looking for something a little leaner, yeah, there's better cuts. If you're looking for something, super fatty, yeah, you get oxtails or something like that, whatever.
Yeah, chuck
when
steak.
you put it all together, to me, the ribeye is king of the steaks. I understand people like different things. I'm not, but
I'm not that picky actually. I just my favorite steak's the one I can afford.
That's it.
Yeah, my favorite steak is the one that's on sale. Whatever's on sale. But no, I mean, come on, Dave. Let's be real about it. If you had unlimited, if you had your choice and your butcher that came to you and said, "Hey, I'll give you $1,000 worth of anything you want," you would not choose bottom round. Okay.
I would still take the stuff. Actually, I'd still take the stuff on the sale. Like $1,000 is going to buy you a lot more cheap beef than it is on
right. Buy the whole cow.
Bad. Maybe that's a bad example.
I want the whole cow, all of it.
Yeah. I've had a lot of that I don't really care for. I like ribeyes. I like strips. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to throw it away, but if I'm buying it for myself and money is not an object. Listen, I have 2 freezers full of meat. I haven't paid more than $9.99 a pound for anything in there. Not one piece of meat have I ever paid more than $9.99.
I mean, if you had a butcher sponsor, if you had a sponsor like a butcher that gave you ribeyes every week, then I mean that.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite cut. When I go out to eat, that's my choice. They go out to steakhouse and they have a bunch of different. I get the biggest ribeye they got. And that's what I think most people would say. That probably 70% of the carnivore community would say.
I used to eat chuck rolls all the time, and I enjoy that very much.
Yeah, I like
you like tough meat. Okay,
it's like a cheap ribeye.
Yeah,
I like to buy the meat in a big slab. When it's on sale, I go to Fresco y Mas. I buy like 25 pounds. I put it in a bag. I carry it home on my bicycle, bring it home and cut it up. That's part of the experience. I don't want the steaks cut for me. Just give me the whole thing because it's wrapped up. They'll cut it for you for free, but I'm like, I don't want to wait in line. And besides, then they throw the fat away. Then you have to argue with them. Half the time they don't speak English. I just buy the whole thing, take it home, plop it on the countertop, and start cutting. And that's it. And
now that's crazy. I'm sorry.
I don't cut the meat after I cook it. It's only cut before. Once it's cooked, we don't use knife and we don't use fork. We use teeth.
Anyway, guys, Russ, Bruce, good to see you guys. Tropical Lurch. I'll have to catch up with you guys again soon. I have to get going. But
good to see you.
Have a great night. See you.
Hey, take care of yourself, Dave. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming by.
Have a great one.
Right.
Picanha is an amazing thing because some places say they can't get it. Like my friends in Indiana and stuff say they can't get it at all. They have it everywhere where I live. Every store carries it, including Costco. And I have never seen it in my area north of $7.50 a pound, which is the other reason I like it. Because it fits my my $9.99 cap. I can buy it anytime I want. My ribeyes, I have to wait. And then they put limits on me, and I made videos about it. They put limits and stuff, and they play games. I don't care. I'm going to buy 30 or 40 pounds of it. We can do it 2 pounds at a time, or we can do it one at a time. I don't care. When it gets down to $8 or $9 a pound, it's mine. And I only eat choice. I don't really eat the select. I eat choice. Prime is too expensive. I ain't paying for that. But I do like the choice. And so when they drop that price down to $9.99 or lower, it's on. Same way with the strips. But here lately, I made some for the road. I made some ribeye. I made a little bit of picanha and a little bit of New York strip. And the more I ate it, I'm like, strip is number 2. It's not number 2. Picanha is number 2. Say that again.
It's just sirloin cap. That's what they call the picanha in other places.
It is, but it's different. It's not like sirloin. It's much fattier. Oh. It's much fattier, much more marbled. It's it's in the sirloin family, no doubt about it. Cap.
It's got
but picanha is a Brazilian word, so But Apex Odyssey says I finally saw some picanha local butcher, but it costs the same as ribeye. The ribeye won, and I don't blame you for that. But around my area, ribeye, like Costco has the cheapest day-to-day price. It's about $13 a pound for choice ribeye. The other stores like Winn-Dixie and Publix, they're like $16.99 everyday price. But but like Costco never has anything on, never has a sale. No. It's like, but even 13, 12 or $13 is too much for me. I wait until it's $8.99, $9.99, and then I buy what I can. But picanha is $7.50 a pound everywhere, even at Costco, which is interesting. Now, Costco has bigger cuts. Like if you look at the picanha at Publix and Winn-Dixie, I don't know, it's maybe the size of a football. And it's good. And it's $7.50 a pound, but the ones from Costco are like twice the size. And they're still $7.50 a pound, so but they're just much bigger. And they put 2 of them together in one pack. So you're going to get quite a bit of meat.
I hate Publix.
But I only go in there when they're on sale, when they have a sale. Winn-Dixie is the place that I go 90% of the time.
Fresco Moms.
Yeah, we don't have those up here where I'm up in.
It's a Cuban Winn-Dixie.
Oh, gotcha.
But Publix sucks. I hate that store. It used to be the favorite store, but now it looks like a warehouse. It's a piece of garbage. They don't even have any windows in there anymore. It's awful. And then I hate that place. It's noisy in there. It's a dump. Publix is
Where do you live, Odyssey? Odyssey, what part of the country are you in? Everywhere, like I said, Publix, Winn-Dixie, and Costco all are $7.49 a pound for picanha. All the time, every day. It's an everyday price.
Sedano.
BK says, "Take care. Good night, BK. Appreciate you coming by." Yeah, so I've never seen $17.99 for picanha. I wouldn't pay that either.
You don't even pay that. It's been fun. I'm going to drop out too. So
okay, Bruce. Yeah, we're going to be done here pretty soon. I appreciate you, brother, coming by.
You bet. I had a lot of fun with us
for a while.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, brother. We'll see you next time.
Let's see. How do you do this?
I got you. It'll be my pleasure to get rid of you. Yeah. Strip comes after Chuck for me. Yeah, it's ribeye is number 1, picanha is number 2, strip is number 3, and then everybody else is kind of the same. But you're a lot less picky than me. I like briskets and things like that too. But as far as steaks,
Mhm.
yeah, I wait, and that's all I have in my picanha strips and ribeyes are the only steaks I have in my freezer.
Hmm.
Hey, William, what's happening? Good to see you. Oh, Mississippi. Yeah, you're down in the south. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, that's way too much to pay for that cut. When Dixie's my main store with some grass fed online, yeah. When Dixie has the best sales, like they have a good sale about every week on something, whether it's chicken, fish, other types of seafood, steaks, briskets, whatever. It's like every week they have something good on sale usually. And the Publix only for the beef heart when Dixie always not available. Yeah, I only go into Publix when they have a sale. Sometimes they match the sale from Winn Dixie. So about 2 or 3 months ago, they had ribeyes at $8.99 a pound the same time that Winn Dixie did, which was awesome because they didn't have a limit. But I can tell you this: when I went into Publix, their cuts were not as good as the Winn Dixie cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the Winn Dixie cuts were good and marbled, and they were good. Publix, I had to be a little more discriminating. I'm like, some of those, I'm like, how could these be choice? I
Yeah.
mean, they did not look like choice cuts to me. They look like, they had the choice tag on them, but I'm like, these are the worst choice cuts I've ever seen. They look like select cuts to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Publix is a joke. I don't know why people even go there. It's so expensive and it looks like
Yeah.
crap. That used to be an awesome store. When I was a kid, Publix was the best. It was the best
Yeah.
looking store. They had the best food. That was like when you went to Publix, you were in high cotton.
Right.
Everywhere else, if you were poor like us, you went to Great Value across the street, or
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
worst of all, Grand Union Basics. That was the
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel. That was one step above the dumpster.
Yeah, we got to Save a Lots in Jacksonville. They're about like that. Save a Lot is rough. Yeah, I went in there, man. I told a story one time about buying. They lured me in. They had $6 a pound ribeyes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I gotta see this. I went in there, man, and I knew right away it didn't look like any meat I'd ever bought before.
You still
I
had marks
mean,
where the jockey was hitting it.
man, listen, it was a brick. That's what it looked like. It just looked like a brick. And I bought a couple of them. Let me tell you how bad they were. They were so bad, I didn't even eat it all. I threw it away. Now I want you to ask yourself this question: how bad does a steak have to be for somebody to throw it away? I mean, it was like somebody took a cut off of a 18-wheeler semi-truck tire and put it in a pan and fried it and put it on a plate. I'm telling you, it was terrible. And I'm like, yeah, I will never go back in there. I
Wow,
will never go back in there.
that's pretty
It didn't
bad.
even look. It didn't even look. It looked pink. It didn't even look red. It didn't like how it was terrible. I'm telling you, it was terrible. Save a lot.
Hmm.
I would not go back in there. Not for steak anyway.
Yeah.
So Super Tune says frozen wild caught seafood only for me at Save a Lot. He goes to Save a Lot.
Uh-oh. We don't have that
Frozen,
here.
listen, I don't know. I guess, if you trust it, but
We have
I mean, I would buy
Presidente
package
Supermarket.
of, like, I did buy some bacon from there one time or something like that, I think, but that's in a package. It was Jimmy
Yeah.
Dean, it was, but yeah, the fresh meat and all that, no thank you. They had roasted all kind of stuff, and it looked like these cows came up on the wrong side of the farm. They were not. Yeah, my buddy Todd told me that a lot of those cows are like the stores like that get old dairy cows.
Yeah, that's what I was
and
thinking.
they
But we
butcher
used
them
to
up.
eat dairy cows here, and they were tasty, so I don't know.
These things are, I'm telling you, it's like eating a tire. I took about 3 bites and I just couldn't do it. I mean, it was so tough and
I
it was,
guess
yeah.
I guess down here when they were feeding the old dairy cows, they were feeding them avocados and mangoes and all the fruit that's spoiled. Maybe that's how they get flavorful. They were
Yeah.
eating all that fruit.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, I've upgraded a little bit there. It says here, William says, yes, the local supermarket tries to flim flam with select, calling it choice.
Mm.
Yeah, well, that's big penalties for that if they put the wrong labels on that, because
Mm-hmm.
that's a USDA, that's a federal
Mm-hmm.
thing, so they can really get in trouble if they're putting choice stamps on select meat.
And they don't put
But
stamps on iguana meat.
yeah, it's all prime.
It's all
It
wild
only
caught.
has one cut. It's all prime.
That's it. It's all, wild caught.
Yep. Well, I think we have fulfilled our contractual obligations to the family this week.
Mm-hmm.
As always, we thank you guys for watching, hanging out with us on Tuesday nights here, just hanging out, having some fun. And we'll answer one more. I'll say this one. Honestly, yes, there are three classifications of meat that are edible for human beings. There's other classifications like for dog food and things like that. But you have prime, you have select, and you have choice. Prime is the best. Less than 10% of all meat in the country is ranked prime by the USDA. Then choice is next. It has to do with the age of the cow. It has to do with the marbling and the intermuscular fat. It has some other things too. But it's a USDA federal, system. It's not determined by your local butcher or your local store. It's federal, so they cannot, they're
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to anyway, put the wrong label. And it will say specifically prime or choice. And usually there's big tags on there. If it does not say prime, now most stores don't sell prime.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Dixie buys it, Costco has a very small prime beef department. It's like they got like I don't know how 30 feet of beef in the thing, and they have like a 2 foot little section at the end that has the prime meat in it, and the rest is all choice. I don't think they sell select at Costco. I've never seen select meat at Costco. It's all choice. And then select is the lowest grade of meat that is fit for human beings, and according to the USDA. Now, but what they'll say is USDA inspected. Some places will
Mm-hmm.
call it deluxe. Some places will call it premium. They get tricky with it.
Sometimes they
But if
say
it
not
does
graded.
not, yeah, if it does not say prime or choice, anything else is bull junk. It's select.
Mm-hmm.
And select, and again, price point. Select meat is always the cheapest, then prime
Yeah.
is nice. And I upgraded to just choice meat. I don't eat select meat anymore. I just wait for the sales. And when the sales come, I hit them and get all I can get.
Mm-hmm.
And just a much better experience. It's just a much
Yeah.
more tender, juicy, flavorful cut. And I'd rather wait, and just do it that way because, slow cooking and all this stuff. Dude, I'm not a cook. I'm terrible at all that stuff. So it helps if you have a good, nice, tender cut to start with. And you have to do less doctoring on it and less magic to get it to taste good. And that's works for me because I have no magic.
Mm.
So anyway, as always, folks, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Special thanks to my man Rick. Always have a great time with you, brother. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get down there and see you here. We're going to talk about it after the show. But
There you go.
I'm on my way to Keto Palooza. We'll try to get some footage and stuff from there as best we can and try to hit you guys up with that. Wish you could be there. And if you're going to be there, I will see you there. And as always, wish you all the best. We will see you on the next one.
That's it.